Shalom and welcome back to Cantor, Laura and Friends. I am your host, Cantor Laura Bresnick, and today it is my great pleasure to welcome to the show the incomparable Rabbi Paula Feldstein. Rabbi Feldstein was ordained by Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in 1993. She has served as a congregational rabbi at North Shore Congregation, Israel, in Glencoe, Illinois, and at Temple Emmanuel in Worcester, Massachusetts, where her focus was on education. In 2001, she became the first Reform rabbi to serve as a synagogue's director of early childhood education. She also served as rabbi educator for Temple Avodat Shalom, which is where I had the pleasure of working for and learning from Rabbi Feldstein. If that isn't enough, she has also served as editor for two books, the Talk Shabbat Handbook for URJ Press and Mishkan Tefillah for Youth for the CCAR Press. Presently, Rabbi Feldstein has two jobs. She serves as rabbi for Hebrew Tabernacle Congregation in New York, and she serves as a member of the Congregational Engagement and Support Team for the URJ. That's Union for Reform Judaism, the umbrella organization of 850 Reform synagogues across North America, of which Temple Shalom is one. And this is where we begin our conversation today. And once again, welcome Rabbi Feldstein to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you, Laura. Cantor. Cantor, we've known each other a long time.
Yes, as you can tell in the audience, of course, Rabbi Feldstein knew me way back when in college, when I was simply still Laura. So obviously you just went through your incredibly impressive resume, Rabbi Feldstein.
Thank you.
On a personal note, I have to say thank you to you for being one of my mentors and showing me this example of being a clergy educator. Can you talk a bit more about what that entails?
Well, I think that being a member of the clergy is one of the things I've always loved about it and been drawn to it is that it's never boring. There are so many different aspects of being a rabbi or a cantor, and we get involved in a lot of different things, and education is certainly a very important piece of that, whether it's educating kids or adults. And that's just been, for me in my career, a very important part. I come from a family of educators. My dad was an elementary school principal. My sister's a teacher. My brother was a teacher. He's doing educational consulting work now. So I just found a Jewish way to keep going in education, and rabbi means teacher, so and cantor should, because there's a huge piece of that as well, very important. And so it's been a very we teach in everything that we do and in who we are as clergy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, for you on a personal note, you recently started at a brand new congregation in the middle of a pandemic. Do I still have it right that you have not actually stepped foot inside your congregation yet?
No, actually, I have once.
Okay, that's good.
I have been in the building. Actually, maybe it's twice now, but really not for very long. I got a tour of the inside of the building from one person with our masks on and everything else. So Yeah, it's been a very strange time to start as a rabbi at a new congregation. I had missed, I love my work at the URJ, but I really missed congregational work. I missed ed- teaching and being with kids. And so I applied to Hebrew Tabernacle in the midst of everything. And I've started leading services on Zoom in July and trying to meet people on Zoom. And I would say probably 95% of the congregation I have yet to meet in person.
Wow.
It's
That's different.
it's very different. It's been very challenging, very wonderful in certain ways. To be able to come in, and I think people are very open to trying new things and connecting in different ways and staying connected to each other during this very challenging time. But it has definitely been, you know, you miss the oneg, you miss the schmoozing time where you'd be sitting with a cup of tea and getting to know people in a
Yeah.
deeper way. It's been
Yeah.
hard.
There's also a different type of intimacy that happens when you're, joining from your dining room table.
Right, right. Right. Well, they all know my cats who will often come walking through. They, right. So they've met my kids and, who will come and pop in, and my husband who will come and pop in. So, yeah, there are there are pros and cons of it for sure. But
Absolutely.
it's been a very different experience.
It should be noted that, like many of our other guests, Rabbi Feldstein is also the spouse of a rabbi like myself, so we can both relate on that front of, being Judaism never leaves our household, and of course, you have your two beautiful girls whom I just adore, and I miss getting to see all of you in person. um,
Is it too?
But so we talked a bit about congregational life, but you have the unique perspective of also working for the URJ. If you could explain to our audience a bit about I mean, I know my folks have been hearing a lot about the URJ lately. It's been coming up a lot, but I'm not sure they know exactly what they do. You could expand a bit.
Hey, so the URJ is the umbrella organization of all the Reform congregations in North America, the United States, and Canada. So what does that mean? It means that we represent the congregations. It means that our job is to do the work of supporting the congregations, and we have a board like the synagogue has a board, and our board is made up of lay leadership, of folks who are out there. They're leaders from different synagogues all across North America, and they volunteer their time, just like in a synagogue board, to work with us and help us figure out what the priorities are and the needs are of the Reform congregations and how to best serve them and how to best run the organization. So I am on a team where our job is to engage and support congregations. That sounds a little vague, and that's probably on purpose because we're always figuring out what that means, because those needs are obviously always changing. And the URJ is um, functions like a synagogue in that the synagogues are like the temple members. Um, the synagogues pay in something called RMAC, which is like temple dues, which supports the organization. And then we offer all kinds of resources and services and staff support, all kinds of programs, and everything from We have something called the marketplace where congregations can come together to get discounts on different things like Zoom and all kinds of different products that because we're buying them in bulk for 850 congregations. And then we have resources for helping boards for governance. We do a program to train new temple presidents. So all kinds of support systems. Now, how much, just like in a temple, some temple members take very much advantage of their temple membership, and they come to services and they go to adult ed and they get their kids in the school and they're very involved. The same thing happens with the URJ. Some synagogues are very involved in taking advantage of all the things that we offer, including a lot of support during the early days of COVID with resources and advice and help, and some don't. And so it's a very similar kind of situation.
Wow, well, it certainly sounds like you are doing important work, and I know personally I'm grateful for all the help that the URJ has been offering our congregation as the pandemic has gone on and everything that comes with it. So I'm wondering if you could talk a bit more about your husband is a congregational rabbi. So I know in conversation we have your youngest daughter is in college, so she's leading a Hillel service in one room, you're leading your congregation in the basement, and your husband's leading from the dining room table all at the same time. How does that affect family dynamics in a Jewish household?
Yeah, it's a little crazy in my house right now on Shabbat, but we think for the moment we've got it all sort of figured out. So Sarah is at Rutgers and she leads the Reform service at Rutgers. And so that they start early, and she leads that either usually from her room. And then I start next at 7:15 with my service from down here. And then usually by then Sarah's finished, and then my husband, and she gets to cook dinner. My husband starts his service at 7:30, and sometimes he does it from the house, and sometimes he just goes in and does it at the temple, but usually from the house. And then we all sit down about 9 o'clock and have Shabbat dinner together, which Sarah has cooked, because that's when everybody's finished and we can just sit. It is definitely an interesting situation. And our other daughter has a choice of 3 different services that she can attend in her pajamas if she wants to just plunk herself down in any given room, or go to none at all if that's her choice. But
I'm picturing Eve in pajamas, like sitting in on, let's say, like Jordan's service, and I'm just
Yep, whatever she wants to, or she could just sit and listen from anywhere. She hears somebody singing somewhere in the house. So yeah, it's working as long as the Wi-Fi behaves. That's always our worry. Is I keep upgrading the Wi-Fi every time something new comes out, hoping that it'll it can manage everything going on in our house. But so far
so good.
Yeah. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 Havdalahs going on too on Saturday nights because and we went through a lot of Hanukkah candles because we were all doing Hanukkah lightings with our different groups too. I went out and bought like 5 or 6 boxes of Hanukkah candles because I knew we were just going to go through them. Yeah.
The Saturday night. And my husband was determined to finish off the Havdalah candle that we use every week at home, and he nearly burned his fingers off just because he was like,
Yeah.
And it's like, I said, replace the candle. He's like, no, we're going to use it till the end. Like,
Yeah. No, that's dangerous.
Yeah, but men.
Yeah.
And speaking of my husband, along those lines, I call this the Jewish 6 degrees of separation. The fact is, you actually met my husband before I did. You actually met my husband before you met me.
Yes, that
Yes.
is true, and it's very funny that we met at a up before I was in. We came back to New Jersey. We were up in Worcester, Massachusetts, and we actually worked. My husband and I both worked together in the same congregation. We had been working in the same congregation, both in Chicago and in Worcester, and we had moved back. We had just come back to New Jersey, and there was a family that had a bat mitzvah, and I was very close to them, and I had offered to come back up and be there with them. So I went up and I met your husband at that
Yes.
occasion. And then that next
Summer.
summer at camp, I met you. But you hadn't met each other yet. So I
We
had no
couldn't.
idea there was going to be a connection.
I
And
was a specialist in your oldest daughter's cabin. And then from there, that fall, I ended up working for your husband first, teaching in his religious school, went to Israel, met my husband, came back and worked for you for 3 years.
that's right. Oh, but there are so many connections because that first summer, I was a nervous wreck because my older daughter has some special needs, and it was the first time I was leaving her at camp, and you were there. And I have to tell you that I left camp that summer in much better shape than I would have, knowing that I was leaving her in your hands, the way that you welcomed her and took care of her. There is no doubt about that. And your connection to her, um, and then you also gave me some voice lessons along the way,
Yes,
which I
I did
wish
that either.
this past Shabbat, my student Cantor was off and I was covering everything and was not following all the things you had taught me and was wishing I had. I wasn't supporting and, using my doing all, I was trying to remember all the breathing exercises you had taught me. So yeah, have been a lot of very few degrees of separation between us over the years. So
Indeed. And I know that I am a better cantor, a better educator because of what I've learned from you. And I am
thank you.
incredibly grateful to be able to do the work I am doing now, very much thanks to what I learned from you over all of these years.
Thank you. It makes me very, very proud to have been able to see you grow and blossom and work hard and become the cantor that you've become and the educator that you've become. Because that's really important. The way that you have and from the beginning a really a beautiful voice. But I think that the way that my bias is about the way that we touch kids and the way that we impact kids, and I think that's the legacy that ultimately we leave.
Absolutely.
So
Well, Rabbi Feldstein, once again, thank you for being my guest on today's episode. It really was wonderful to have you on the show. Is there anything else that you want to say before we say goodbye?
no, just thank you so much. To those watching, you're lucky to have such a wonderful cantor. Um, and everyone should stay safe and, just keep trudging. Keep hope going, but be careful at the same time. We're going to get through this and everything's going to be, we should learn as much as we can from what we've been through and take it with us into the better days that are ahead, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen to all of that. And once again, thank you for coming on the show. And for Cantor Laura and friends, this is Cantor Laura Bresnick signing off. Have a great day, everyone. Shalom.